Hello everyone, how are you today? I hope that you're doing well. Thanks very much for once again stopping by, or for the first time stopping by and watching this video. It feels like ages since I've actually made a recording, even though it's only been a few days. I just like sitting down and talking about things. And also, I just happen to find myself in a flat by myself, and it's nice and quiet and peaceful, and it's like the first thing that I think of is not to get on with my actual job and do my actual work, is to sit down and have a little chat with you guys and girls, just to check in and see how it's going. So thank you first of all to everybody who's been watching and subscribing and commenting. It really does make my day, and some of the comments in some of my videos are really quite humbling to see how people have been sharing their stories and asking questions. And it kind of worries me because I'm not the mouthpiece of trans people. It's just me. And I hope that my comments are, taken in the right spirit. It's just me sharing my experience, and you sharing your experiences makes this whole process so much more meaningful for me. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So what did I want to talk about today? It occurred to me on Tuesday. It was my 5-month anniversary, I guess, of being on hormones. And I thought maybe it might be fun just to give a little kind of update, how it's been going, how has that process kind of impacted on me. So just a quick kind of like overview of what I have, what I take, what I do. At one point I might give a more detailed, in-depth kind of description of the system that I'm navigating. At the moment I'm actually in Poland, so I've been using that system, and it's actually been quite smooth, to be honest. So I'm quite surprised and super happy about how that's been going. But what am I on? What am I taking? So for the first 3 months, I was on a kind of a lower dose, but 3 months after that, my endocrinologist put me on this. This is the testosterone blocker, and I take 200 milligram tablets in a day. So I take one in the morning, one in the evening, and these are the estradiol patches, and I replace these twice a week. So these are basically little patches, little stickers, and I apply them to my body. 2 of those patches I'm on at the moment. So what has the effect been on me? So physically, I don't know. There's been a few changes. My skin is softer. My hair is maybe a bit softer and shinier. There've been other physical developments, but I think the biggest change, and this is actually what I wanted to kind of talk about today, is psychological. It's in my head, and basically from day one I've just felt so good, so positive. I've found the experience of being on hormones to be wonderful. The physical changes are slow going, and it's going to take years. I mean, it's not even a case of taking years to get to like the final kind of form, because I think you're always in a process of changing and evolving, I guess, if I'm some kind of dinosaur. But you know what I mean. It's not like I'm going to arrive at a kind of a final point and be like, I have transitioned. It's almost like an ongoing, constant process, and that's interesting to be part of. I'm really enjoying the ride so far. I just need a little drink of my coffee. So by the mental, the psychological changes, what do I mean exactly by that? Well, I think first and foremost, I just spent the first month just feeling giddy with joy. I suppose there's no better way to sort of describe it. And I think in one of my other videos about the euphoria I experienced when somebody complimented my haircut. It was really quite touching. But other than that, I found myself to be so much more full of energy. I was thinking about it yesterday. I'm super busy with my job, yet I'm still managing to find the time to record these videos. Sometimes I even edit these videos, sometimes even research stuff for my videos. And I don't think I would have had the energy to do that, plus take on what is currently a new and much more intense job compared to last year. I don't think I would have had the energy. No way. And not only that, but I've still got time and energy to do all other sorts of things, like go to yoga and go grocery shopping and cook and clean. Sometimes, probably not as often as my girlfriend would like, but that's how it goes sometimes. So I feel like I've just got so much more room in my head. And I think a couple of people mentioned this, like after I came out, they were talking about that kind of having more room, having more space, having more thought power, because the amount of energy, the amount of time and cognitive power that I was spending on worrying about having to retain this mask, to try to hide my identity, well, that's gone. I mean, in the Madrid video, I was talking about how I feel freer, but actually it's more than that. I feel so much more energized. Not only that, but like in social situations, I mean, I've always sort of described myself as an introvert. And it's weird because I've been in a few social gatherings, a party, for example, and I did not feel quite so de-energized as I would normally do so. And I think it's partly because I don't feel that I need to keep up this sort of fake exterior. Now I can be so much more free. I can be so much more honest with everybody. I don't need to spend, as I say, that sort of cognitive energy trying to make sure that I'm filtering everything that I say, I'm filtering everything that I do through that lens of expected behaviors. And it's so good. I could actually go to social events and be more like the person that I've always probably wanted to be, and that's really quite something. It's not like I'm a different person altogether. I still feel like I have the same kind of sensibilities. I still have the same kind of attitudes and ideas about the world. I'm still very unhappy about certain things going on in the world, and I think that will always be true. I'm a hard worker. I always have been. I like to think that I'm dedicated to my kids and my girlfriend and my job and all of those things, but now I've got so much more energy and so much more oomph, for want of a better word, so I can dedicate more time and more focus to all of these things. And I'm not going to put that down entirely to my little happy pills, but I mean, it certainly has helped. I think it's all part of the same package. It's the hormones, it's the coming out, it's the transitioning, it's being able to take control of this process for myself. It's not having to hide who I am anymore. The whole package, it's really quite something. And reflecting on this, it just makes me feel for those who can't go through this process. Those, I'm thinking about myself a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I knew who I was, but I wasn't able to be where I am now for whatever reason, like my circumstances weren't quite right. And there are thousands, maybe millions of us out there in the world who don't find themselves in the position where they can be themselves in the world. And that shift, that boost of energy, that reduction of cognitive load on my brain, it's made a significant difference, I think, to my quality of life. And it really is quite sad that there are people who aren't able to experience that and will probably live their whole lives without being able to experience that. So, I mean, I think in the end, that's what I would like to see us get to, a point where people don't need to be hidden. They can go out there and be themselves and be the person that they should always be, if you know what I mean. But I mean, for me, as I say, it's been an incredible 5 months. It really has. I think the last 5 months, my mood has been higher consistently than it's ever been. I look forwards to the future rather than always looking back and beating myself up for mistakes that I have tried to convince myself that I've made. It's almost like a complete shift in the way that I perceive the world. It's amazing. So yeah, I just thought I'd say that. I mean, I think it's easy, maybe some of you might be watching this and think, well, that's good for you, but like, my situation is not there. And I do sympathize with that. I do understand where you're coming from, and I do hope that you will find the energy or the circumstance. I mean, for me, life changed. It hasn't always been like this. It wasn't until, as I say, several months ago that I found myself in this position where I could do this. So if you are stuck in a place where you aren't able to transition, you aren't able to get on hormones, you aren't able to be there, it might be the case that that's not a permanent situation. It might be the case that there might be things that you can do to sort of change things ever so slightly, so that, it might feel like, oh my God, several years down the line, that's a catastrophic long period of time, but keep the faith. Things can improve, and I hope that they do for you. So thank you very much for watching. It's a bit of a simple one today, a bit of a short and sweet one perhaps, but I just wanted to sit down and just kind of get it out there, just take advantage of the peace and quiet in my flat a little bit, just to kind of have this time to sit down and spend some time with everybody out there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful week, and I hope to see you around in the comments section. Thank you very much. Goodbye.